Hey, and welcome to the 2D podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how you can go from always looking at the cup being half empty to half full. How we can actually go from always looking at the problems, just not finding a way out, always being stuck in a rut, to finding the little tiny things that we can do daily so we can have that growth mindset, so we can start believing in ourselves and believing in the situations that they will turn out because they will.
Building our confidence through execution.
Exactly.
So jump in.
Hello and welcome to the 2D podcast. I am your host, Adonis Pereira, and I am joined as always by the lovely and talented Iana Giselle Backlit Alhambra.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going, Iana?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Every time we do one of these, it feels like it's been forever since we've done one.
I know. I had that feeling too.
I feel like I haven't done it in over a month.
Yeah. A week. A lot happens in a week.
It does, honestly. But how are you feeling? How's the world treating Iana Giselle?
I think I'm doing really well. I got to a point where I'm kind of getting bored at work, which is so funny because there's still so much going on.
Yeah.
But I think I finally found my rhythm with it.
Nice.
And with daylight savings, this past weekend, it really helped me get back on the... Yes, it really helped me get back in the zone of like, okay, you're not waking up at 7, you're waking up at 6, even though it's still the same. So I'm like, okay, bet. Like, I'm coming into work early again and like on time and all these things. So I'm happy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How long have you been with this job again?
I've been in this position for 2 years now, but I've been at this job for like 5 years.
Oh, so you've been in this exact position for 2 years?
Yes.
Man, it feels like it was literally last year.
Yeah, I hit my 2 years in October.
Wow.
Yes.
That's insane.
It's
Man,
definitely day and night.
Time really does fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely needed that first year to just learn everything, to take everything in.
To take everything in, not even learn everything, because I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because during my programmers meeting, they asked me like, have you started getting quotes on like renovations? And I was like, I started getting quotes, but I never said like we are officially under renovation or anything like that. And they were like, good job, you're learning. And I was like, yay, improvement. Let's go. It was so funny.
Nice.
So yeah, nothing's set in stone ever until you see it on paper. So.
Yeah. And then in the third year, I feel like is when you really start, like you said, developing your rhythm. Things do get boring almost because
you know what to expect. Exactly. Is literally the only reason why it feels boring.
But it's still high, tempers and all that good stuff.
Brain power too, and like the dedication that I have for like my admin time versus the social aspect of the job, whether it's like with staff or with the teens, like there's so many different levels, and then on top of that with parents, and like it's a lot.
And that's wild.
But I'm proud of myself for like the growth.
Yeah, because your job is very dynamic. You deal with so many different groups of people, teens, youth, adults, and even seniors.
Yes, even seniors. Like there is literally no demographic that I don't work with. Like last week we just had a group of students that have disabilities. From in the high school, and they came down and enjoyed the teen center. Nice. And it was so perfect because there was probably about like 8 to 10 of them, and there was like 4 different staff members, and then on top of me and my supervisor being down there, so we were all just able to like spread out, have fun, let them enjoy for like not even a full hour. But it was really awesome seeing like the joy in their face and like the break that they had in their week. So I was like, bet, like I know I'm doing like what I want to do.
Exactly. Like even though there have been moments where you've doubted it, but at least it does have those perks of like, I feel like I'm making a difference.
Yes, exactly. Like if I learned anything about this job, I know my impact in the community is like literally one life after another. So like that's what I'm like okay, that's what keeps me coming back. There you go. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. And this is, for those of you that don't know, this is her first job working under her diploma.
Yes. So full-time position um with my bachelor's degree and actually applying what I've learned and learning even more of what I haven't learned.
Yeah.
So
Because not to get too off rail, but because this degree pretty much has nothing to do with your choice, but it's awesome because
yeah.
what has helped you was, like you said, you've been working under that for 5 years, not in
Mhm.
the position, but like similar
Yeah,
is-
in the realm,
in the
in the
realm.
industry.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, I've been very good. Like you said, the daylight savings time
Yeah.
has helped me tremendously
Yay.
because you know how the hour went, what is it, back? So we get an
Mhm.
extra hour of sleep.
East Coast time.
Yeah, I legit treat it as if it didn't change.
Mm.
So when it's let's say 8 o'clock, I
Yes.
treat it as if it was 9. So I still only give myself like an hour to like wrap my stuff up. That
Wow.
way I'll wake up. I used to wake up around 4:30 earliest
Mhm.
to 4:50 to
Yeah.
5 a.m. And now I do it from 3:30 to 4
Mhm.
a.m. because I'm still trying to
Wow.
stick it there
Yeah.
because I already have to go in early because I open pretty much the building.
Yeah.
But then I'm also trying to make sure that I have that buffer room to still do and plan
Mhm.
on my own things while
Right.
I work there. Because unlike Iana, I'm not working under a bachelor's because I haven't finished school. Will I go back one day? Maybe, to get that bachelor's degree.
Mhm.
But to me, it isn't a high priority just because I feel like I want to take like the NBA stars and the soccer players and all those athletes might say, I want to take my talents elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I get it because, there's like today, one of my supervisors was like, I told her that my sister was going to school
Right.
and that I don't see her that often because she's busy.
She's
You
a
know,
student.
she's
She's working part-time.
exactly.
Yep.
So exactly, it's that
That
life.
college life.
Uh-huh. 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 And so then she was like, "Oh, okay. So she's what year is she in?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, she's a sophomore." And then she asked me, or yeah. And then she asked me, "So what year are you in?" I was like, "Oh, I stopped going." And it's funny because then another coworker was like, "Oh, but he's a photographer." Like she quickly jumped into like save face almost.
Ah.
And I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was one of the first times where I didn't feel uncomfortable saying that, "Oh, I stopped going."
Mhm.
Usually when people ask me that, I'm like, "Oh, I'm taking a break. I'm
Yeah. You're kind of beating around the bush just
yeah,
because you don't really want to full on say,
like
um,
I have other priorities in mind."
yeah.
Because if I really wanted to go, I'd go. Obviously,
Yeah.
like I, I'm not saying I would finish it in record time, especially not now. But
Yeah.
I'd be serious. I'd take it seriously, and
Right.
I know I have the mental capacity to do it. I've been blessed to think clearly and
Mhm.
all that good stuff.
And our job even covers like tuition
Yeah,
payback and stuff like
yeah, and
that.
it's a
So,
little
yeah.
tricky too because then you'd
Mhm.
have to stay in the company for 2 years
2 more
after that.
years
But
after.
anyways, I don't want to derail. Um, yeah, but I'm saying that because
Yeah.
I used to be uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And then when someone asked me something like that, and I beat around the bush saying, "Oh, I'm focusing on this right now. I'll probably get back to that after I actually know what I want to do."
Right.
I would after that, I wouldn't just leave it there. I would think about that and be like, "Man, they think I'm this and I'm probably am." Like
You'd feel down after
I
that whole
feel
conversation. Like,
exactly. And I wouldn't be like the biggest downer, but that would be on my mind.
yeah,
Then I would be
exactly.
thinking differently about what I'm doing. I would be
Mm.
thinking, "Oh, man, maybe I should start looking at career paths you know,
Yeah.
that would interest me so I could go get a diploma maybe. You
Right.
know, like I start to,
Like what filters into
I
it.
just start to doubt myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate
And then you're
that.
no longer operating in your authentic self.
Exactly.
And that's what brings you into the spiral of woe is me.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to get at with this podcast today is that a lot of us, there's like three types of people. Some that are living in a fantasy world where they think they're hotter than they are, which is not always bad, you know, if, especially if you still keep it, you know, cool and you don't try to be arrogant or be a bully, then you're straight. Because that confidence and that and the fantasizing, it's almost like a strong vision that pulls you towards there, right? So more power to those people.
Yeah.
And there are people that are more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
They do see some positive, but they also see the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just teetering in that line. They might have their ups sometimes and they might have their lows, but generally they're even keel.
Mm.
But then, and this is the people that I want to talk to today, it's the people that are always looking at their mistakes. Your guys are always looking at your shortcomings. And man, I can't believe I didn't wake up early again. Man, you know, like I'll try again tomorrow. But in the back of your head, you're like, it's going to be the same thing. Why are you even trying to hype yourself up?
Right.
You know, it's like, man, I wanted to go to the gym today, but I just got out for work. And then at night, you're like, man, I should have gone to the gym. Like, I had time, you know, I could have pushed back a couple things. And then I was like, okay, I got to go tomorrow. And then again, in the back of your head, you're not going to go back tomorrow. You know, you're not going to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we get in that spiral, like you said, of just this negative thinking.
Right.
And I just want to speak on how can we get from being at that low point of just that negative mindset to not just being realistic, but bringing that high, intense energy so that we can push past those barriers.
Right. Like putting, what's it called? I think the energy that you're talking about is like how much heart and soul are you going to put into your actual goals and dreams. And like for our friends that are like in that lower tier of woe is me, I'm living in the rat race and everything like that, like everything is staying the same. After looking at like my life, like everything just looks the same and it's not going anywhere up. It's just on a constant like treadmill of where am I going? What am I doing? I know I want to work out. I know I want to eat healthy. I know eating a salad would be better off than eating a burger, like
Yeah.
all these things. But I think the difference is when you actually put into words what you're currently doing.
Yes.
And you define it like, okay, take inventory. When I was trying to plan for the, I forgot how many hours are in a week. I think it's like 360 schedule or something like that. But basically, if you look at the, exactly how many hours are in a week, before you even try to plan the next week, look at what you're actually doing in a week currently. Take inventory of like, okay, I planned for a 5 a.m. wake up, but I woke up at 6:30 and I got out of bed at 7:30. Like, I wouldn't know that I can't wake up at 5 a.m. just trying to will myself to wake up at 5 a.m. because I didn't realize, oh, I actually went to sleep at 1 a.m. So me thinking I can wake up 4 hours later is completely unrealistic.
Exactly, yeah.
So when you take the inventory of what you're actually doing, then you can define where you are on the map. And then you can set the appropriate realistic goals of, okay, I woke up at 6:30. I can either wake up at 6:30 again and get out of bed at 7 instead of 7:30, or I can actually set my alarm for 7 and then wake up immediately and get out of bed immediately.
Exactly.
But that already puts you 30 minutes ahead of your schedule of what you've already been doing.
Right.
So there are so many different little ways of going about what you're currently doing just to move the needle.
Yes.
But what are you looking at to help you continue to move the needle further? And I think what really helped me with, because I can plan all day, like a whole solid schedule of like 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I'd get like solid sleep. I can write down I can pick out all my clothes for the week. I can pack my bag the night before, pack my lunches, cook and everything like that. But I know for a fact I will not do it because I put all my energy into the plan and didn't save any more energy into what we're actually doing. And I think to answer your question from earlier is like, why are we not moving with like energy, or why are we not putting energy on it? And I told you we're missing the heart and the soul.
Yeah.
Meaning, do you have a why? Why do I need to wake up at 5 a.m. instead of 6:30, instead of 7?
Yeah.
My why quickly turned around after this daylight savings because I'm not going to lie, a supervisor did not approach me or anything, but because she's a new supervisor, she was in my meetings that I was late for. And I was like, I don't want her to have that impression of me. So guess what? Like, I'm going to use this daylight savings to my advantage. I'm going to come in earlier. I'm going to be early to my next meeting, meaning I'm going to be in the meeting before the meeting and pop in for that one. And then just keep up with that schedule. Exactly. And so every time I saw her, she was like, she kept the same face. But I know she knows I was late for the last 2. So I'm like, guess what? Like, that might be what I showed you in the first few encounters. But like, that was enough fuel for me to be like, okay, let me change what your perspective is of me because I care. I don't need you to tell me.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So to recap, talked about taking inventory.
Yes.
Think about the decisions that you're making currently. 2 was?
2, think about the decisions that you're doing currently and then put a why.
Exactly. Like, why do you really need to wake up at 5 when you have to go in to work at 9? Like, do you really need all that time?
Right.
And if it's because, and I'm guilty of this, that's why I can relate. I used to go in at 9 and then I would want to wake up like at 4:35. But it's like, why? It's because I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to cook breakfast. I wanted to get some work done on of my own personal stuff. And then I wanted to chill before going into work. I have not done not one of those things before work previously. So how on earth am I thinking that I'm going to do all 5 or 4 of those things all of a sudden the very next day?
Yeah.
Start small.
Yes.
To then build on that, but be consistent with one thing first.
Yes.
That's the biggest key, okay? The one thing. Focus on one measly thing that you want to focus on every single day until you get it, until it feels like a habit.
That is the key. When you are consistent with the one is when you can add something else.
Exactly.
But until you're consistent with that one thing, then no, you don't even have to worry about this, that, and the third right after.
Like,
let's hone in.
Yeah, don't try to read for 30 minutes, then go work out, then come back, shower, and then meditate and pray. When you've never done those things in the last week, in the last month, in the last half a year.
Yeah.
And this is one of the biggest points that I thought about earlier today was that this, man, I'm telling you guys, I am speaking to you because I've been there. And sometimes that past me tries to knock on my door, but I have to shut him out. Like, yo, that's over. That phase of my life is done.
Yes.
So this one key aspect, which was thinking and making one task the milestone. Okay, I used to make, okay, I gotta go to the gym. I haven't gone. I literally made that a milestone. I made it seem like a milestone. So meaning what? Like I made going to the gym like this big thing.
Yeah.
Instead of like, yo, exactly what Iana was talking about. Why? Why do I want to go to the gym? Because I want to be healthier. I want to move faster on the field. I want to look better. I want to not be ashamed of putting on a t-shirt in the summer. You know what I mean? And it's like, those are the whys. So I need to build a plan.
Yeah.
And part of that plan are doing these exercises at the gym. I literally made the gym not the biggest thing. It's one step.
Yes.
Make these actionable tasks steps, not milestones.
Yes.
Reading isn't a milestone. You know why I say it? I promise you, if you go on Instagram and if you ever see someone on their story post a picture of their book or maybe a quote, and they rarely ever do that, they're literally trying to show off that they're reading, and they make it seem like a milestone. Instead of, yeah, I do this every day. Why am I going to post it? Unless it's like a really powerful quote and I want to share it.
Right.
You know? But it's like those, or when you take a picture of yourself at the gym because you're like, yeah, I'm at the gym. I'm not saying don't celebrate the small wins. Celebrate the small wins, but don't make it seem like, oh, I did it today. Yes. Like, man, I don't know when I'm going to do this again. So I got to live it up now. You know? Like, no, it's like, it's part of it.
Yeah.
This is like, yes, let's go. Coming back tomorrow.
Right.
Leave it at that. Don't make it seem like, oh yeah, I went to the gym, guys, today. Let's go. You know, it's like, oh, nice, finally.
Yeah.
And then you, because then guess what? You hang your hat on that one day that you went last week.
Yes.
And you're like, oh yeah, I go to the gym.
Like you were satisfied.
Yeah, exactly.
After you took that picture, okay, I knocked it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You make that the milestone.
Yes.
Yes, instead of just a task, a step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one thing I do want you to reiterate because I don't want people to miss it, is the emotion you put onto yourself for that thing.
Yes.
Like I'm very emotional, like high emotion. And if I don't put that why and that emotion behind the why, then it's harder for me to move past and actually get it done. So when you said the gym is like just a
step.
Yes. When you said the gym is just a step, like go back to, okay, the gym is just a step because I remember how it felt when I was on the field and I couldn't keep up with one person or whatever.
Yeah.
Like go a little bit more deeper in that and like how that helped you.
Okay. So I was just using the gym as an example.
Yeah.
Because for me, I wanted to get my stamina up. So I was hitting the field a lot more. The field for me was that milestone that I saw. I was like, oh yes, I did it.
Okay.
This season, it just snapped in me. Like, yo, I can't keep carrying myself through these games, showing up every time thinking, I'm like, man, I hope I don't mess up again like I did last week. You know, like, okay, I'd be more thinking about not messing up than winning the game.
Okay. Wow.
Because I'd be like, yo, okay, I barely went to run. I barely did the things that I needed to do. And that switched when I was getting sick and tired of just watching the opposing team have the last laugh. Because there were some sore, you know how there's some sore losers? Sore winners, bruh.
Yes.
Like it seemed like we were always playing those teams where it's like they won and then they still kept talking smack. I'm like, bro, you won. Just walk
just
off
take the dub.
Yeah,
go.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, shake hands, whatever. Good.
Yeah.
But then if you're like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, still talking smack.
Yeah.
After they've won.
Yeah.
Like, oh you blah 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 and you blah 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 blah.
Right.
And I'm just like, bro, I can't let these bozos keep doing that to us. And if you're going to beat us, it's because you were just that much better skill-wise. It's not going to be because you just wanted it more.
Right.
So in order, I can't just say it. And now I have to put in the work.
Right.
I have to hit the field and do X, Y, and Z when I get there. I have to do these drills. I have to run up and down these stairs.
Yes.
I have to run a couple miles to start getting my stamina up. So going to the field was no longer the milestone.
Yes.
Going to the field was no longer the goal.
Right.
It was a step.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a thing like, it literally went from like coming home from work. Should I go to the field today? Man, I really should. Blah, 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 blah. Now it's like, as soon as I get home, all right, let me just change. Let me not waste any time. And let me just get out onto the field already.
Right.
To start warming up, stretching, and then getting after these drills. That's why this season I picked it up so much.
Yeah, you did.
And it's just, and compared to where I should be, that's just the tip of the iceberg. After this week, because I've been chilling for this last week, but after this week, I'm gonna go back on the field, and if it's that cold, then I'm gonna start going back to the gym, and because I'm gonna go to the gym either way, but it'll probably be more often because I'm trying to keep a balance of going to the field and going to the gym because I don't want to lose my touch during the winter. Yes. I don't want to try and regain it back in the spring. I want to keep it consistent.
There you go.
But yeah, bringing that emotion is so crucial.
Yeah.
I mean, if you keep talking about your mistakes, just think about how you sound. What's the point?
Yes.
What's the point of just coming back to your friends and saying like, man, I'm down and out. I'm just hanging in there, It's like, bruh, come on, have some self-respect. Honestly, have some self-respect.
Oh my goodness. If you couldn't say that better, there's like, oh my gosh. The first step in self-awareness for yourself, write down and journal how you're feeling, how you're thinking, whatever, for like a week.
Yeah.
And then when you reflect at the end of the week and you see how negative your thoughts are and stuff like that, just realize when you're talking to other people, or if you can't even bear to read all the journal entries that you wrote because you already know what you wrote, like, just that gives you some self-awareness, like a tiptoe into some self-awareness for how you're affecting other people.
Yeah.
And then you can choose to continue on the path that you're on or realize, okay, how do I change my fixed mindset into a growth mindset?
Right.
And I love that I just found on Amazon this like fall decoration. This is like a side note, but it's fall. It's like my fall decoration, and it's fixed mindset and growth mindset on the other. And like the fixed mindset is I give up, I can't do this, all these things.
Yeah.
Versus the growth mindset is I know I made a mistake, but I'm going to keep trying until I get it. And it's just like all the different alternatives. And I honestly think, and it even says it on the board actually, when you change your words, you change your mindset.
Yes.
So when you don't even want to be around all the finish reading your journal entry because it's so negative, who do you think wants to listen to you when you're being all that negative?
Exactly.
Like, take some inventory for yourself so that you can be self-aware and self-regulate yourself. That's part of growing up, and that's part of like the harsh truth that like we as adults don't want to face.
Yeah.
So what I was telling Adonis earlier was like, I'm having a hard time having crucial conversations with others, but that's because I'm not having them with myself.
Right.
So part of my 75-day challenge is to take inventory of when am I actually showing up? And what I love about my coach is she said, when you don't feel like working out, when you don't feel like journaling, when you don't feel like doing what you know you should be doing, look at it and think of it as a form of gratitude and appreciation and praise and worship to God. Like, he didn't have to give me legs that work today. He didn't have to wake me up. He didn't have to like give me eyes that like I can see what's going on. But like when I work out and when I feel the burn, I can praise God through it because I have that ability. I have that capability today. Let me continue to strengthen it. And thank God that like I have the ability to lift 15 pounds or whatever. Like just be a little bit more grateful, and that gratitude will help you change your language that you're using to fill your brain of more positive energy. And then that's when you get that spark of, okay, how am I showing up to the gym? Now that I'm consistently showing up to work, now that I'm consistently showing up to the gym, how do I want to show up? Do I want to come with great energy? Do I want to have that big energy?
Exactly. But it's literally, like she said, shifting the words.
Mm-hmm.
It is shifting the words. Stop using that like, man, I messed up again.
Right.
I didn't get up in time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make it into work on time. I didn't do the work that I said I was going to do today. I didn't start that book. I just didn't do self-care.
Exactly.
Something so basic. Start saying, what time could I start doing it? What works best for me?
Mm-hmm.
Just at the moment you start fixating and using language that fixates on the problem,
Mm-hmm.
and instead just become curious,
Mm-hmm.
ask questions. Yes. So then you can find the answers. Like you're never going to go from thinking so poorly, thinking so, man, I wish this and that would change, but it doesn't seem like it would. You're never going to go from that to all of a sudden meeting your goals, meeting your expectations for yourself. There has to be a transition. And in that transition, it is literally as simple as shifting your words.
Yes.
Going from, okay, I didn't go to the gym. Why didn't I go to the gym?
Right.
Like, is there something that I don't feel like the gym is the best place for me? And I know we keep using this one, but it's just so easy. It's like, for me, that's why it didn't work out as much, because that was my goal. Like going to the gym.
Yeah.
The moment I was like, why am I trying to go for the gym? Because I'm trying to get in shape for soccer. Well, I don't really need to go to the gym now, do I? What I really need to do is go to the field and start or go to the stairs, go to, a stadium where it has stands so I can use those. Anything where I can run freely or do some stair workouts. That's what I need. So I can either get some ball touches, run, or whatever. So I can gain that stamina. That was the shift, is just using my words. And instead of just blaming myself constantly, I said, what do I need?
Yes.
I need this, that, and the third. How do I get this, that, and the third?
And you wouldn't have gone to it unless you set that goal of, oh, it's not building strength. It's actually gaining endurance and consistency. And
Exactly.
love it.
Yeah.
I did want to go back to having those crucial conversations though, because with me growing through everything that I've already grown through, I think the only way that I can fully develop my confidence into the place where I know I will need it, especially knowing like I do belong in those programmer meetings, or I do belong in these rooms with all these high level officials and other things like that. Like the only way I know I'm going to like be worthy of that is when I actually look myself in the mirror. And yes, I already told you guys to take inventory, but it's more than that. It's, are you being real with yourself? And are you being like completely transparent with yourself? Because until I can be fully transparent with myself, then I won't feel comfortable enough to call someone else out.
Exactly.
And I'm not trying to call anyone else out in any hate or malice or negative energy or anything like that to bring them down. I think the reason why I really need to like take inventory of myself and gain more confidence within myself is because I need to point the fingers to me so that I can call myself out like, hey, you said you were going to fast today. You ended up breaking your fast sooner than a day that you wouldn't have actually fasted. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Why are you giving into like the flesh like that? That's just like an example. But
Yeah.
it's like, it's true. Like when I finally put like a day of like, okay, this is me fasting, and then I couldn't do it, like, what does that say? And because I'm able to reflect on what does this mean, then I can better understand, okay, this is my self-realization, self-acceptance journey. How do I move forward to continue to grow in the direction of where God is calling me to be? Because if I'm being fully honest, I can say I tried to do this, that, and the third every single day of this 75-day challenge. But when I look at it, did I actually do the things that I said I was going to do every single day?
Right.
And this is day 21, I think 2022, something like that. So by the time you watch this, it's going to be like 27 or something.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I am being fully transparent with myself. No, I did not fully do every single thing that I said I was going to do because I was using it as a trial and error point in this journey.
Yeah.
But now I get to take inventory of what has worked, where I'm at so far, and what is my next game plan for the next 21 days or 25 days or 75 days. Like, let's see. And the reason why I'm still proud of myself is because I am still cheering on, like we said, the small victories.
Yes.
So that's like the perfect example of take inventory, acknowledge your small wins, and then make a plan for how you're going to move forward.
Right.
And the emotion is there because I get to check me and not someone else calling me out. And then just putting a why. Like, why do you want to move forward? And why do you want to keep going to the next chapter of my life instead of being dragged down by all old habits?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Beautiful. That's going to do it for the meat and potatoes of the podcast.
Yes.
We hope you found some great insight into if you are down at that level of almost being pessimistic, you know, having little faith, having little self-worth and low confidence, how you can go from always looking at the problem to at least being realistic, if not having that greater vision to produce that big energy.
Yes, and taking responsibility for what you're actually doing.
Exactly. So if you found any insight at all, let us know. Hit us with a review, either down below or wherever it's located.
Yeah, wherever you're listening to us right now.
Exactly. Yeah. You can find us on our on YouTube at Adonis Barrera, and then there'll be a whole playlist there for the 2D podcast.
Yes.
And then if you're watching this on YouTube, you could listen to it on Apple and Spotify.
Yes.
Yeah, you could find us also on our Instagram pages at the 2D Pod, which is TOODEEPPOD, and a Facebook group too, which is still up. You know, it's up and coming, which it's already established, but you know, we still have to figure out what we're gonna do with it.
How to maintain it.
Exactly. It's the 2D podcast.
Yes.
And then you could find me on Adonis Barrera on my Instagram and Iana at Iana Giselle. Exactly. So we thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yes. And we'll see you next week.
Stay safe, everybody.
Bye.